Cowboys Report presented by BetDSI, the internet's #1 sportsbook. As you can see on your screen there, the Cowboys, as many of you wanted, they've got involved in free agency. They have signed Randall Cobb last with the Green Bay Packers. Very much a bigger name than Kerry Hyder is. Now, Cobb has agreed to that deal. He tweeted it out as well with a fun little Toy Story gift of Woody. He's coming to the Cowboys. They're a one-year, $5 million deal. We don't have the guaranteed money yet, but pretty reasonable to assume that Cobb's going to get all $5 million there. Now, injuries have impacted his play as of late. Statistically, the numbers weren't what they were in the quote-unquote prime of his NFL career, but he's still only 29 years old, and if he can stay healthy for an entire season, I think that's a big thing there for Randall Cobb and the Cowboys. The Cowboys, remember, of course, they lost Cole Beasley as their starting slot receiver. They kept Allen Hurns for now. They re-signed Tavon Austin to a one-year deal. Now Randall Cobb comes in. He's going to be your new starter at the slot receiver position. He's going to beat out Allen Hurns if he makes the roster. So now all of a sudden, when you look at where the Cowboys sat this time last year, almost all new receivers. Amari Cooper is your number 1. Gallup is still your number 2 on the outside. And Randall Cobb is your number 3 in the slot. Tavon Austin will still be involved as kind of the gadget-type player. We'll see if Noah Brown sticks as that receiver, almost tight end hybrid. Cedric Wilson, Devin Smith, Lance Sonor all fighting for roster spots. I kind of think Cedric Wilson makes that makes the team. And then there's Allen Hurns. And if I'm the Cowboys, I'm just cutting Allen Hurns. You cut Allen Hurns, you save over $5 million in cap space, and you just give that money to Randall Cobb, and you upgrade at the slot position. There you go. I think it's a no-brainer for me. And Randall Cobb comes in now. He is your new slot receiver. Again, the numbers in 2018, they weren't that great. Injuries were a factor. They only played 9 games. Aaron Rodgers was not the same guy, in part because of his own injuries last year. So Randall Cobb comes in at a cheaper price tag than Cole Beasley. Historically, has been more productive than Cole Beasley, and is younger than Cole Beasley. This is why the Cowboys like to wait until Tier 2 or Tier 3 in free agency. The value ends up being a little bit better. So Randall Cobb comes in on a one-year, $5 million deal with the Dallas Cowboys. He, of course, has made it very clear he's excited on Twitter. Cobb, remember, visited earlier this week with the Cowboys, came down to the Star, and much like Allen Hurns actually did last year, made his visit to the Cowboys, left, and then like a day later went, I'm just going to take the Cowboys offer here of 1 year, $5 million. That's been the Cowboys' MO this offseason. 1-year deals, limited money up front, and then that allows them, if things fall apart this year, they can reset and figure out what they end up doing. But a 1-year, $5 million deal for Randall Cobb and the Dallas Cowboys. He's going to be your new slot receiver. Again, we don't have the guaranteed money, but I think it's pretty reasonable to assume that Cobb gets all of this and that $5 million is going to be his cap hit in the 2019 season for the Cowboys. So question for you guys, who do you want as the Cowboys starting slot receiver? Give me a T for Tavon Austin, an H for Allen Hurns, and a C for Randall Cobb. I would assume most of you are going to type in C. We'll see what happens here in the chat in just a second. But I figure that Cobb is going to be the likely vote there. Tavon, I think, has a role. Not so sure about Allen Hurns, and I see almost all C's. A couple of T's sprinkled in there, 1 or 2 H's, but for the most part, C is the answer. Again, for those of you just now joining us, Randall Cobb, the former Packers wide receiver, second-round pick out of Kentucky, has signed a 1-year, $5 million deal with the Dallas Cowboys to come in to be their new slot receiver. He'll replace Cole Beasley, and I see many of you mentioning about Allen Hurns there. I think you cut him now. You can basically cut Allen Hurns and just give his money to Randall Cobb. That leaves you, in theory, Cooper, Gallup, Cobb, Austin, Noah Brown, Cedric Wilson, maybe a Devin Smith, maybe a mid to late round draft pick still too. I think you're fine at receiver at that point. Now, again, the injuries for Cobb have been the big thing. In his past 3 years, hasn't been all that productive, especially last year, 2018, just 9 games. Would look relatively similar to 2017, if he had played all 16 games or all 15 games there, at least where we did in 2017. 2014 was fantastic. 2016, 79 catches, 829 and 6 TDs. I doubt he approaches his 2015 production, but if you can get a little bit close to the 2016 production, I think you'd take that in a heartbeat for $5 million. So grade the signing of Randall Cobb. This is an A B, a C, a D, or an F. Let me know in the comment section. We'll see what happens here as these flow in. I think it's kind of a no-brainer for me. I think it's a very good signing for the Dallas Cowboys. Little long-term impact. And compared to what Cole Beasley, you guys know I would have paid Cole Beasley. But if you had offered me the Cole Beasley contract or the Randall Cobb contract, I'm going to take the Randall Cobb one. A little bit less money, less long-term commitment. Yeah, it kind of puts you 2020, who's your slot receiver, whatever. I like this move for the Cowboys. I see a lot of B's, B pluses, some A's in there. I think that's about the right grade there for Randall Cobb. A very quality Tier 2 signing, something the Cowboys are very, very effective at. So Randall Cobb is in with the Dallas Cowboys. Christian Covington also in with the Dallas Cowboys at defensive tackle. Kerry Hyder, the defensive end from the Lions, he's in as well. All of them on cheap one-year prove-it type deals. And all three guys also having dealt with injuries in recent years. That's been the Cowboys' MO right now in free agency. They're not spending big on an Earl Thomas or defensive end or anything like that. Instead, okay, we need some defensive line help, need defensive end, need receiver, maybe safety as well. Let's find cheap one-year guys that'll plug the hole, and that way we don't have to be forced into taking a certain position in round 2 or in round 3. That's how smart teams tend to approach free agency. That's what the Cowboys are doing right now. Again, folks, use hashtag Cowboys in the comments section here, live on Facebook, live on YouTube. Get your questions featured live on there. We'll get to that here in just a little bit. I see plenty of questions about Eric Berry and Robert Quinn. We'll get to those questions here as well in just a little bit, but we will continue to talk about the addition of Randall Cobb to the Cowboys. Now, again, the numbers last year were not that good. 38 receptions, 383 yards, and 2 touchdowns. I think he's going to be better, though. I think Randall Cobb is a quality fit alongside Dak Prescott. And again, he's not going to be the focal point of the offense. That's still going to be Amari Cooper, Zeke Elliott. Maybe Michael Gallup is ahead of Randall Cobb, but he offers a little bit more of a depth than Cole Beasley, at least the way Cole Beasley has played with the Dallas Cowboys. We've seen more of that home run ability from Randall Cobb. He's probably not going to be 2015 Randall Cobb, but if you can get somewhere in that 2017, 2016 range from Cobb, that's really good. That's really good production for just $5 million, even if it's just, somewhere in the 400, 500 yard production. That's a worthwhile investment for the Cowboys for Randall Cobb. But again, just a one-year, $5 million deal, cheaper and younger than Cole Beasley, and historically has been more productive, although, of course, 2018 wasn't quite the case there for Randall Cobb. Now, in terms of the draft for the Cowboys here, they could still go wide receiver. I don't think they're going to go receiver in round 2 or round 3, though, because you have Cooper and Gallup and Tavon Austin and Cobb. You could draft a receiver in round 3, and they could be your number 3 guy. Or number 5 guy. That's not really good use of draft capital. But maybe they do what they did with Cedric Wilson. Take a guy in round 6 or even not round 6, they don't have a round 6 pick. Round 5 or round 7, or if they trade down or up into round 6, look for a receiver there. That would make sense. Let that receiver, because we know that round 6, round 5, round 7, a lot of those guys don't make the actual roster in the end. They can compete for that number 5 or number 6 role. But again, I'm cutting Allen Hurns. You save $5 million plus by cutting Allen Hurns. You give that money to Randall Cobb. You don't add any extra dead cap. You don't add any money to your actual cap space this year. And you get Randall Cobb instead of Allen Hurns. I think that's a no-brainer. Now, I know the Cowboys have been very effusive in their praise in Hurns. He's been a really good locker room guy for the Cowboys. But I'm not paying my potentially number 5 receiver that amount of money. I ain't giving him that type of money. I'm not paying him $5 million to catch, 2 passes a game? That doesn't make sense from a cap management perspective. So with the addition of Randall Cobb, I don't think it spells good news for Allen Hurns. Maybe they let him compete or try to trade him in the draft or in the preseason. But I think when we get to week 1 of the regular season, I'll be pretty surprised and really more upset if the Cowboys still have Allen Hurns on their roster, because it doesn't make sense to pay your number 5, at best number 4 guy, $5 million when you can save all of that by cutting him. I just don't think that's a good route for the Cowboys to approach in free agency. I think they can save that money, use it for an extension for one of the many guys, Amari Cooper, Zeke Elliott, DeMarcus Lawrence, Dak Prescott, Byron Jones, Jalen Smith further on down the line. I think that makes a lot more sense there for the Cowboys than trying to pay Allen Hurns that amount of money at the current moment. I just don't think that's good use of cap management.